Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 20 of Mondayish. Oh, 20 episodes, Dave. We've been doing this for 20 weeks now.
It's pretty cool. I know I say it every week, Jim, but like it definitely is a bit cool that we're consistently getting this out week on week. We haven't missed a week yet, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that is pretty damn impressive. Yes, Jeppy, 20.
Which is it's sick. It's like when we first started this, I was like, if we can get 10 episodes on the run, that'll feel like we're probably starting to find our feet. And after 20, I think we probably have started to find our feet.
Yeah.
Maybe. Who knows?
We've got a bit of a format going now. Yeah.
And thank you, Jep, for the congrats. It's cool. I'm glad you guys like to come hang out with us.
Yeah, appreciate everybody coming in to having a watch live at twitch.tv/straightjacketjim, which or twitch.tv/Desane, although it seems to be more my channel at the moment, which is fine. Monday's Dave's raid night, so he doesn't stream on Monday nights.
June has been a disgusting month for me, Jim. Like I have had no spare time to do anything. So that has been hitting my go live quota a bit, but hopefully that'll start to bounce back a little bit.
Well, this is a little bit non-gaming related, but it is a bit like that with streaming when you've got a full-time job as well. Or I'm part-time. I work 4 days instead of 5, but there's still other stuff to take up my time, and like the content creation takes a little bit of a back seat sometimes in life. Yeah.
100%, man. And then you chuck on like the stresses of trying to plan a wedding and things like that, and it all starts to become pretty complicated.
Yep. But you know what's not complicated, Dave? Playing video games. And I do want to know, what have you been playing lately? Have you had a chance over the last week?
Yeah, look, I definitely got a bit of time. I think the fact is for the next probably month, let's be honest, you're going to get the same answer almost every week. I've been playing Slay the Spire. I've been playing World of Warcraft. And I've been playing Persona 3 Reload, which are all brilliant games and all very different.
I was about to say, like those are 3 pretty big games to have going on the go. Like I struggle to have 1 or 2 going. But having 3 games of that size going, that's impressive to me.
Look, they're very different vibes, It's the Slay the Spire is my sort of chill out, wind down for the evening, might do a run or 2. Persona I'm really deep into now. I'm really enjoying it. Probably 20-25 hours in, which is pretty cool. And then World of Warcraft, we have about 6 weeks left in the season, maybe less, maybe 5 weeks now. And what I'm doing is trying to get into the top 1%, which gives a mount reward. We're a long way off. We are a long way off, but I think it's like something I might be able to do. So I'm sort of starting to work towards that.
It's good to have goals.
We'll see how we go. We'll keep you guys up to date on how we're traveling on it. But the mount reward is sick. The mount reward is really, really cool. And I'm just really hoping that I can get it. And it would be pretty cool because a lot of people are not going to get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
well,
so I'm trying to find a picture for it to show.
It's an exclusive mount. Like, of course, like it's the reward for doing good. That's what annoyed. There was one thing SWTOR did, like when they released an expansion called Knights of the Eternal Throne, and at the time they released it in kind of episodic format. So every month, like the first release of it had the first, I think, 9 chapters, and then every month after that, up to episode 16, I think it was, they released 1 a month. And that was really cool and like encouraged people to stay subbed. There was rewards, and if you stayed subbed for the whole time, you got access to this bonus chapter content, which 2 things. One, I don't think you should lock chapter like story content behind things like that, but it was done. And it was a cool chapter. I did like it. But what I didn't like was that later on they've just gone, well, and in fairness, it's like 3, 4, maybe 5 years later, they've gone, cool, well, we've got this content here that's not many people are playing anymore. We're going to put it on the cartel market, which is like cartel coins are the premium currency. So luckily SWTOR only has the one. So you can use real dollars to buy cartel coins. And usually it's things like different looking armor sets, customizations, or unlocks for the free to play players. You know,
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and they put this chapter on there, and like I understand it from their point of view, but from my point of view, that's exclusive. That's where this story's going. I know that was a little bit of a long way to get there, but we got there. But yeah, it should have just been a like it should have remained exclusive. If you say it's going to be exclusive, then that's it.
Yeah, I can understand it. Look, there are things in World of Warcraft. Like World of Warcraft has been around. When did WoW first release? It was 2004. Yeah, 2004.
I was
November
going to say 7.
2004.
So yeah.
So there are mounts and collections of things that have been unobtainable since like 2005.
Yeah.
At this point, the number of people that actively still play the game that have got that is minuscule.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not that against bringing it back. Like, yeah, it's still a flex because you still have the achievement that says when you got it and things like that. Like,
I don't mind if you bring it back, but modify it slightly so it's not exactly the same thing anymore. So the people that like, so you have something that looks exactly the same, but maybe it's got a different color, something. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I get where you're coming from, and I suppose it's that difference for WoW. Well, I'm just pulling up Simple Armory right now, which is like a collection tracker website, right?
Mm.
Is that not? All right, it's not working for me. But in the current expansion, in Midnight, which has been out for 6 months, not even, maybe 6 months, around that, there is like 90 mounts available. And you go back through 12 expansions, you're talking thousands of mounts.
Yep.
At that point, do you really need another mount that's just slightly different, or do you just go, yeah, you know, just let that one come back so more people can show it off? You know, like this one, keep it exclusive for 12 months, 2 years, that kind of thing, and then go, cool, you can earn this again. Maybe not even like the same achievement. Maybe instead of being the top 1%, you just have to get to a certain rating, and then you can like pick one of the ones you've missed or something. Yeah. You know what I mean? I like seeing those things out there because like the Black Scarab mount, which is the one that's from like 2005, you never see. Like you will never see someone riding it, and it's just like, that's a shame.
Yeah, I will say like if the effort to get the new thing or the re-release thing is the same as what it was originally, what you had to originally do to get it, then I'm all right with that. Because it's like, it's the effort that you put in to do it. Like if people stay subbed for 6 months straight or however long it was that the initial time span you had to stay subbed for to get the extra content, then cool, give it to it. Make that a subscriber bonus reward type thing, you know?
But yeah, I mean, that's it. I think like even make it slightly easier. You know, you can get this. You know, I've dropped a link, that black and red bird mount. I think it's sick. That's why I'm really pushing for it. Make it that you don't get it now. Cool. You can't get it. But in 18 months, 2 years, here is a slightly easier way to get it. And then a couple of years later, here's an even easier way. Like just so that as these things, you know, if you've got it in the next 18 months, you're like, I earned this the only way it could be done. Then over time, it just becomes easier to get so that someone that maybe is not good enough to get it now gets to enjoy it in the future. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just too much of a an old man gamer now, and because I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it, I just want to get it in the future.
Yeah. that is also fair because like you get different perspectives sometimes when you're gaming, particularly as an adult and being time poor. Like you don't have the time. Like I remember there was an event called Dark versus Light in SWTOR, and it was this big, huge thing that basically made you do everything at the time that the game had to offer. So like you had to do one of every flashpoint on the normal mode. Then you had to do one of every flashpoint in the master mode. There was an achievement for that and a tier for that, and you got different unlocks and whatnot. And like it was so much you had to do. And I think I was one flashpoint off getting like the top tier reward, but because I just couldn't do it. Like at the time there were no APAC servers, so it was you had to be on an American server, which I'm paying with 300 millisecond ping, and I just couldn't get out of the red quick enough.
No, valid.
Yeah.
Look, sorry. You may have seen me start laughing halfway through you talking there. My whole knee just locked up for a second because we're talking about being old gamers, and my whole knee just went, yeah, we're going down. I was like, no, do not fall over live during the podcast. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's one of those things, and it's something I think I more and more can't deal with FOMO or that kind of thing in games. So
I just give up. I just go. I'm in the acceptance part of the stages of grief when it comes to those sorts of things. If I can't get it, I just can't get it.
And that's fair enough. And like for those maybe not across it, those are the international viewers, FOMO, fear of missing out. Basically, here is a time limited thing that you will only get when it's available. If you don't get it, you miss out. It's why I don't play Pokemon TCG Pocket anymore. You know, I was for the longest time, I was subscribed, I was paying extra, I was really enjoying it. I missed a time limited thing. And legitimately overnight, I went from love this to, all right, I'm done. Can't 100% it. I'm out. Which it's maybe something about who I am as a person. But yeah, it's like FOMO is a bit of a pain, and it's a pretty predatory thing. You know, it's like, how do we make sure someone will be logged in every week for this time? You know, when we talk about them being things like, you know, active users, when Microsoft is saying that their new like main metric is active users, and you know, World of Warcraft is a Microsoft game.
Yeah.
So it's that thing of like, currently there's an event which you need to do a task, which takes, I'll call it an hour and a half, maybe. Okay. But to get them out, you have to do it 5 weeks in a row. But you can't do it all at once. You have to log in every week and do this hour and a half, and then log out, and then come back next week, do it again, do it again. It's just like, it's just not respecting your time.
Yeah.
But also I want it, so now I'm going to have to put up with it. So it's one of those just, yes, it works, but it's gross.
I'm going to come in as like, I don't like to do it, and it's going to make me feel dirty, but in defense of Microsoft, every live service game does that. Like,
I'm only talking about the one I know. You know, it's the same as there's worse. You look at Nikkei and things like Infinity Nikki and things like that. Yeah, it's a lot worse than the things. Genshin Impact, Zoneless ZZZ, whatever. I can never get the right. Zoneless Zone Zero, Zenless Zone Zero.
Yeah, something like that.
Weebs. Yeah. All the Hoyoverse games are like that, you know.
Or even all the free-to-play games. Fortnite.
We'll see a Western one.
Yeah, Fortnite. You want that skin? You got to get it now. Otherwise, it disappears and you'll never see it again because it goes into a bowl.
Fall Guys was like that.
Still is.
But you know, Solaris is right that it's one of the good things about Helldivers 2, because I saw Solaris mention it further up in chat. Helldivers 2, once something's out, it doesn't go away. You can buy it. Yes, it's going to be easier to work towards when it's on, but there's a lot there. Okay, but the one guy in that is hot. Are you talking to Wolf, Jep? Because I'm pretty sure the only character that Jep knows from this is the Wolf Man thing.
I think she's talking about you, Dave.
Oh, that's just part of it. Yeah. Nah, look, FOMO is a thing. We're not getting away from it. No. I genuinely worry what we're going to see when a Western developer makes a Hoyoverse gacha style game.
Look, I don't think it's going to, like, Western audiences are different, and like they're still not super used to that kind of thing.
No, they are.
Well, yeah, well, I guess it depends how you frame it. If you make it like a JRPG, Western audiences aren't going to care about it. But if you make it a FIFA or you make it a Fortnite, then they're spending money on that stuff. Yeah,
their Ultimate Team. Yeah. I know Gamma was here chatting. Hello, Gamma. Gamma's big into the FIFA Ultimate Team, I'm pretty sure. Which is just gacha for straight men, really. But you can't say Western audiences don't accept it, because just go to any convention or anything. What are the main things you're seeing now? Hoyoverse characters, horse girls from Mura's, I can't even pronounce it, but you know the one I mean. Bless you, Jeffy. It's, you know, Murasume. Someone help me out. You guys know this stuff better than I do. It's all those gacha games are the ones that are just there. Like it's
blind boxes for things as well. Like, okay, I went to Perth Card Fest on the weekend because I thought I haven't been to one of those TCG/Card Fest things before, and like there's this really really old Star Wars CCG game that I want to finish off, and I thought maybe there's kind of an outside chance that stuff will be there, and I've gone there. It's 90% Pokemon, and there's just so many people that have repackaged card packs. So they've opened the packs, they've seen what's in them, and now they've gone, yeah, cool, we're going to repackage it in our own and sell our own packs pretty much.
But again, that's the same. That is essentially a gacha. It's just gacha in real life.
Oh, it's just like I mean,
so think about how successful Overwatch was.
Yeah,
you know, like back when it was just gacha.
Yeah, but you got to package it differently for Western audiences. That's what I'm saying. Like it can't be like your Genshin Impacts. It can't like for the bulk of the Western market. I don't think that will work. Like there is don't get me wrong. There is a section that of the Western world that is into that sort of stuff, but they're into that sort of stuff because it's more Japanese or
But at the same time, like Genshin Impact, without the gacha part, this will be a long walk, but bear with me here. Genshin Impact without the gacha is a pretty mediocre Ubisoft game. You know, it's an open world. Take Immortals Phoenix Rising.
Mm-hmm.
I know we're going a fair way back on that one. Immortals Phoenix Rising.
I like that game. That was a good game.
I really enjoyed it. I platinumed it. It was legitimately, I think, the first game I ever streamed on Twitch. Second game. I did Hollow Knight first, but so no, I'm a big fan of it. I really enjoyed it. I've got the platinum, all that kind of stuff. But if you took that game and just chucked a gacha system on top of it, you've got a Hoyoverse game.
Yeah.
Really. Like, so it's really not that much of a gap. And bless you again, Jep. Jep is dying out in the lounge room. I can just hear her exploding. So it's one of those things that, like, I don't think it's that big a leap to legitimately take a Ubisoft open world game, right? Well, make it smaller, not even like the size of Far Cry or something like that. Make it about the size of the Fortnite map and call that your first zone, you know? Then chuck a gacha on it of Disney characters.
Oh, you mean like Disney Dreamlight Valley?
Something like that, yeah. but not the town builder. Just like a run around and do some platforming and collect these things and puzzles and stuff. You would make an absolute fortune.
But that's what I'm getting at though, is that you have to frame it in the right way. Like you couldn't just transplant Genshin Impact into the Western world and it would make the money it's making in Asia.
But it doesn't have to make the money it's making in Asia, because if you make something in Western, it can still go international. You know, it doesn't just go one way.
Yeah.
Like, yes, it's a harder market to break into because if you think about how many of those gachas fail over there. But like, Jep's still going back to the Wolfman. It's just one of those things that, like, there's definitely I think it's the next spot in the market now that we're moving away from extraction shooters, because everyone's tried to make the next extraction shooter and realized that no one actually likes extraction shooters apart from like a very small subset of people.
Yeah. We get that. Look, and it is business decisions that drive these, like with the chasing trends, I think. But the main thing that we were going to talk about tonight, and I feel we need to talk about it, even though the news is like a week old at this point, but PlayStation announcing, hot on the heels of GTA 6 saying that you're only going to be able to get digital copies even if you buy a physical box. PlayStation have announced that as of 2028, that they will no longer be selling physical games for the PlayStation. Now, you can probably extrapolate from that's probably when the PlayStation 6 is coming out. So, and there are little bits on there about how expensive components are. So they're probably trying to limit their well, there's a whole range of things that's going on here, but one of them would be trying to limit the cost of the device, and taking out a disk drive is an expense that they don't have anymore.
Yeah, no, 100%. And, we talked about it last week, and, we'll get into it a bit more for sure, but people are buying more and more digital. Like, I think it's one of those, it's one of those things that, and maybe I'm going to get attacked for this. There's been this major outcry of people like rising up against it, and the fact is, I think we always knew this was coming.
Yeah.
Like, did we really think that in five? All right, if we go it out, did we think in 10 years you would still be able to buy discs for a PlayStation? Probably not. Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
I
that
would
the vibe
hope
I had.
I would hope that we could, but the realist in me knows it's not. And that's the thing. There has been a lot of outrage around it, but the industry has been trending this way for a long time. And
100%.
and it was like you say, I think it was an inevitability at this point. But for me, I think it's too soon because there's a lot of unanswered consumer questions around it. Like, I don't think corporate Sony doesn't care about this. And in fact, I remember after all the outrage that came along with this, Sony's share price had a fairly decent bump after this got
Yeah,
announced.
100%.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to save so much cost on not developing Blu-ray drives for these consoles. It removes a lot of the fact that these days, half a game that you buy, like the Final Fantasy games on disc, weren't they like a quarter of the game on the disc? And then the
I'm
rest
not
you
sure.
have
I
to
wouldn't be
download anyway.
surprised though. Like this is going back a fair way, but like the Master Chief collection for Halo, like that was a 60 gig day one patch in an era where games were about 60 gig. You know,
Exactly. But yeah, like I'm sort of saying, like, we knew this was coming. Like, I don't think anyone, Microsoft wanted to do this a decade ago. Microsoft's probably loving the fact that they're going to get to come in with this and either be the heroes that keep physical.
I'm
just
waiting. I'm waiting for the retaliatory video because, like, you remember when Xbox One was launched and that Microsoft tried to do this, and like PlayStation have released that this is how you share a game on PlayStation, and they've just handed over the disc. Like, I'm waiting for Xbox to do that. Like, it's going to come full circle.
Do this as well. I don't think it will because Xbox knows that in a year from now they're going to do the same.
Oh
thing.
Yeah.
And you don't want that video from a year ago. It's bad enough that it's from like a decade ago. But it's one like, yeah, like when I thought about it reasonably, I was like, 10 years from now, I don't think I'll be able to buy discs. And then when I bring it in, I go 5 years. I was like, yeah, maybe we're done.
Yeah.
At some point, I had to do it. The fact that it's 18 months notice is like, feels very quick, but at the same time, rip the Band-Aid off.
I think it's like, I think that's happened more because of component prices for hardware these days. Like the prices of RAM and the prices of GPUs has gone up so much just in the, like every time we say it, it's like, it's gone up so much in the last 3 months. And that's happened for about the last year or maybe year and a half where it's just gone up so much. And
100%.
And they'd be looking at the unit price of a PlayStation 6 and going, yeah, no, how can we cut costs? Well, look, we're not putting in a disk drive. And once again, it's making me feel icky defending PlayStation in that way. But from a company point of view, it makes sense. And you know what else it does too? Like, so how do you get a PlayStation game if there's no physical? You go to the PlayStation store. PlayStation take a cut of every game in that store. So not only are they saving money by not making any more disk drives in it, they're making money by forcing everybody to go to the PlayStation store.
And that's exactly it. Like, and you've got to take it the other side as well, is GameStop, EB Games, JB Hi-Fi, whatever you want to call it, wherever you buy a physical game, they take a cut of the sale. Yeah. So Sony is now cutting out that 30%, whatever it is, that they're no longer losing. But when you think about the PlayStation 5 release, you had two options. You had a console with a disc drive and a console without a disc drive. From memory, and someone can fact check me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure the difference is about 150 Australian dollars.
Yeah.
I think says to you how much it costs them, how much it's costing them to put a disc drive into these things. They also have made it very clear that like form factor, cooling, all that kind of stuff is so much harder when you have to give up that much of the body.
Well,
'Cause, you know, the disk
not
drive
only
is
that, but it's like the disk drive moves itself, so that's generating heat. It might be negligible compared to the components, but it's still generating heat. So it's more heat you got to worry about absorbing and expelling somewhere else.
Yeah, percent.
Yeah. Nix has said Xbox already has a console with no disk drive, so does PlayStation. The PlayStation 5
Yeah,
Pro is diskless.
yeah, my PS5 in my lounge room doesn't have a disk drive. Straight up, it's never been an issue for me. And, you know, I think we talked about it last week where I said I was always a very physical, heavy gamer until I started using this one without the disk drive. And then I realized how much nicer it was being able to download 5 games and just jump between them without having to take a disc out, put it in, that kind of thing. Yeah, and you know, the PS5 when it first came out had no disk drive as an option. You could buy a temporary one. Series S had no disk drive. There was a Xbox One all digital. The Xbox One S.
Because they've got because in the Xbox One's life, I think the revision models, there was an Xbox One X and an Xbox One S as well. And I think the S didn't have a disk drive.
Yeah, it was the Xbox One SAD or the Xbox One SAD, which is the only reason I can remember it, because it was the Xbox One S all digital, which is it's an unfortunate one. They've never been good with names.
Yeah. There are a few things I want to cover off on this, and there's
for sure.
We've been not so hard on PlayStation so far because it is an industry inevitability. It was always going to happen. And there are stats that are being brought out by PlayStation as part of the announcement that 85% of their sales are digital these days. There's been a few comments I've seen online going, "Oh yeah, but that came from just a single quarter report on something." It doesn't matter what quarter you pick, that number's just going up. Like whether it's 85% now or I think 10 years ago it was 50%. So that number's always going to be climbing, and it's always going to be high enough for PlayStation to justify not putting that in. It'll be high enough for Microsoft not to justify it as well. But I do have an issue, and there's a couple of things that have happened. Well, one main thing that's happened at PlayStation recently that gives me great concern over where they're going, and that is probably about a couple of weeks ago, I think, PlayStation removed 500 odd movies from that had been bought by people, and they can't access them anymore. And this is where it gets really annoying for me and really, really concerning, because all that stuff that you go online at the PlayStation Store or Xbox Store or on Steam or wherever now, and it says buy. Everything says buy or purchase. It doesn't say rent. And if you buy something and it can be taken away from you, then what value is that ownership? It's not ownership. It's like, and that's where a lot of these places will get around it, and they'll say, "Oh, but you're not buying the game, you're buying the license." And there's in the EULA, that big long EULA that nobody reads, there'll just be stuff that says, "Oh yeah, we can take this away whenever we feel like it."
I mean, yeah, it's an interesting one, this one, Jim, because like you say, they did remove the access to this. What sort of gets missed sometimes around this is that store actually closed years ago. So the store where people were buying these through PlayStation closed in 22, 23, something like that. And then the licensing, because it wasn't a Sony owned thing, it was a licensing that Sony had, expired.
Yeah,
it's seedy as hell, but it is a really convoluted thing.
And yes, if you know those things, then yeah, you're aware that there's a license deal somewhere in there, and the license deal expired, so you can't get it anymore. But
it's like you can't buy Forza Horizon 4 or 3 anymore because they lost the license to the cars.
Yeah,
you know, it's something that it's licensing, and that is confusing as hell. And I will never claim to be an expert on it. But well, it's not good.
It's not confusing. It's just not even. I wouldn't even say it's complex, because it's just like, do you have a license? Have you bought it? No. Well, then you don't have a license. Have you paid whoever you need to pay? then yes, you have a license. But what annoys me is that I have DVDs out here. I've been collecting DVDs for as long as I've been working. All right, so we're talking like 98, 99, 2000, around there. I can go back to those DVDs that I bought back then, chuck them in the drive, and they work.
Yeah,
Like,
100%.
and because I bought them. And this is the difference that gets me. Like, if you bought one of those 500 odd movies that disappeared off PlayStation, then you think you bought it, but they've just removed it, and all of a sudden you don't have access to it anymore. That's like someone coming and getting, like, I think the first DVD I ever got was the movie Bowfinger, like Eddie Murphy, Steve Martin movie. It's not the greatest. Don't bother looking it up. But if someone decided that I shouldn't have that anymore, they've got to physically break into my home and take that thing away from me, you know? And this, I think this is what people want. Like, the transition to digital is going to happen. It's always going to happen. But they want the same guarantees around their digital products as they have around their physical products.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. 100%. And I would argue when you say it's not complicated, because I think it is a little bit complicated when we're dealing with things like you are buying through Sony, but you're technically not buying it from Sony. You're buying it through a third party that owns the rights, and then they can take the rights away, and it is a whole out there. But yeah, no, the fact that these things could just be pulled back is ridiculous. Like,
yeah.
And you look at a lot of these games that are stuck in licensing limbo, games that can't be Xbox backwards compatibility, like all the Transformers games and stuff, because of the licensing, or
none of the Rock Band, none of the
4.
or all the old Guitar Hero games. None of them are backwards compatible. Even though
exactly.
the Xbox 360 guitars will connect to your Series X, but you can't play Guitar Hero 1, 2, 3 on there because of licensing. And Solaris does make a point here as well that I want to be able to talk about as well. And Solaris says there, I have no problems not being able to buy them, but I don't want them to take them away if you bought them. And that's where Steam does a good thing. So if the game disappears off the Steam store, you can still download it if you've already bought it. So it's still on a server somewhere so that the people that bought it can still access it. And that's what I think PlayStation needs to have done in this case.
I think that's where we're falling down, because I don't think people had actually bought this from PlayStation. Like, this wasn't something that people had bought from PlayStation. They had bought it from this other.
Well, then why are PlayStation removing them then? It's not
because the service has taken it away.
But they were buying it through the PlayStation Store. If you're buying it,
were they buying it through this? Were they buying it through the service store?
There's a difference.
Yeah. Like that's what I'm saying. This was not movies on the Sony store. This was movies on the Blue Box or whatever it was called store.
Well, either way, even if it's not Sony doing it, it still highlights the problem that people have paid
100%.
for.
I'm not arguing that.
Yeah,
I'm definitely agreeing with you that. But I think that's part of where we're falling down, is that I don't know if it was actually Sony, if they were the PlayStation libraries, but Studio Canal. Look, I could be completely wrong, because there's a lot of stuff about that.
Yeah, Studio Canal's the like a studio. So like I always took it that the agreement that Sony had with that particular studio ended, and so they took the movies away.
Yeah,
that's how I've been interpreting that news story.
And you could very much be right, because like I said, I haven't dug too much into it, honestly. But that was But yeah, it's one. I think we all agree that them being able to take it away is ridiculous. And I'll say it, even if Jim won't. If you can't own something, then technically you can't pirate something. You know,
that is a saying that is going to become more and more common. And like, I've been playing with it, the first part of the phrase as the title for this episode, and that is, if buying isn't ownership, then stealing isn't piracy.
Let's not get ourselves in too much trouble.
Or piracy isn't stealing. But it's obviously we don't advocate piracy and stealing. Please go pay the artists that make the work, even if they do work for big big stupid companies like PlayStation or EA or whatever. There are still people behind it. But yeah, there was another thing that I noticed that came up, probably because admittedly, once that came out, people were probably looking for reasons to lay into PlayStation as well, but I'm okay that this came up. So there is apparently something in the PlayStation account terms of service that says if your account is inactive for 3 years, they can delete it.
All right.
So-
I'm going to arc up about this one because this is being misrepresented a lot.
Yeah. All right, I'm here for this one, Dave.
You go first. You
No,
go first.
well, the wording of it is if you have not used your account for at least 36 months, we may take steps to close it. So it's a may in there.
We may take steps to close it. We will email you and give you 6 months to log in, or we will delete it. Logging in counts as web browser, mobile browser, app, anything. Like if you haven't had the ability even after that 6 months to log into the website once, like I'm starting to lose some feeling for you.
But what I'm getting at there as well is if, like, it might be that you didn't have a PlayStation for that generation. You might have had a PlayStation 4 and then decided you either didn't have the money to buy one or you you swapped to an Xbox Series X for whatever reason, and you just didn't log on for 6 months. And yes,
6 months though.
Yeah. Well, it ends up being 3.5 years then, but it's still,
but you do get the warning.
Yeah. But it's still the fact that your account gets shut down though, and anything that you've bought on there gets lost.
It's part of it as well as mainly because maybe it's because I have to read some of these licensing things before.
Yes, Jeppy, you lose all the games. If your account gets shut down, all the games that were bought under that account get lost as well.
Yeah, 100%. Like it's gone.
Yeah.
At the same time, Jim, technically, if I don't stream for 3 months, Twitch can shut down my channel and remove affiliate and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
They can. I don't know of a history of them doing it to anyone.
Yeah. There's a streamer I know that retired from streaming, but she comes back once a year to keep her partner status. So she does like one stream a year to keep partner status. Yeah.
No, and that's exactly it. It's, to me, if it was that you had to go onto a console in those 36 months, I'd be there with the outright. You know what I mean? The fact that it's 3 years, we will warn you, we will give you 6 months to click the link on their email to say you don't want us to delete your account, and that restarts your 3 years. Like, it reads badly, but I don't think it's as bad as the internet is making it sound.
I still think it is. I think it's still a way that they can remove your online purchases, and that, like, my concern about this isn't about the removal of the account. It's just that the removal of the account is the removal of the digital licenses, and then you don't have those games anymore.
Why would they want to remove accounts though, Jet? Takes up a ton of space.
Yep.
In databases and all that kind of stuff. Accounts that haven't been used for years and years and years. Like, it is taking up space. Like, they need something. And do we think it'd actually be the 3 years? I don't know. I think, though, a company like Sony that does need something in the writing, just going, hey, if you haven't used it for 3 years, we can give you a nudge and say, hey, we kind of want this space back. Are you still using it?
Yeah. And that's it. There's lots of stuff where, like, I do sponsorship for my hockey club. We have a sponsorship agreement, which is a loose contract. And in it has an exit clause. So we've never had to use an exit clause. We hope we never have to use an exit clause, but it's in there in case something happens. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Sometimes these legal documents have to have some stuff that you never intend to use, but you need it just in case. Yeah. And I'll be honest, the internet likes to get angry. So it's not like PlayStation hasn't done enough to piss everyone off at the moment.
Yeah, that's it. And like I said, it's probably at a point where people were looking for things to be annoyed at PlayStation about. And it adds on top of the concerns around, are we going to lose our games? You know? Jeppy, what?
And the reason they can't do that, Jep, is because if they delete the account, they delete the information that says what you bought.
Yeah. If there's no account, there's nothing to link what you bought. But
yeah, get all the bad news out in one hit.
Yeah.
We'll just
right
in time for all these layoffs tomorrow.
Yeah, that's it as well. There's a couple more things I want to quickly point out about because I'm a numbers guy and I do like this stuff.
Yeah.
And I did see a Twitter post and I didn't have time to research it myself. But in going through quickly in the 15 minutes before we started tonight in my Googling trying to find it again, I found an article from April 2025 talking about the some of the physical versus digital sales of big the story driven games. So like because there's no denying that I think I saw a figure that there's something like 6,000 digital only games on the PlayStation Store versus I think it was 1,700 that had a physical and digital release. So like
that is a really interesting number, actually.
Yeah.
That is an interesting ratio.
And
it makes sense when you talk indie and things like that.
Yeah, and once again, that figure came from Reddit, so take that with a grain of salt. But if I'm being honest, that's about what I would expect the figures to be because there are indie games that would go on there, and obviously distribution methods for indie devs, like they would go digital only because they don't have the funds to distribute through bricks and mortar stores. But there was some interesting figures because that I was reading, and that was in part of the initial Twitter post that I saw that I was trying to find again but couldn't. But basically, the stats on physical games that got a physical release, how many physical units they sold versus how many digital units they sold. So the stats from this article that I found and from a website called thegamebusiness.com, once again, haven't heard of it, so I don't know how reliable their information is, but we're going to use some of it anyway.
I do find it funny because I've heard of them for the first time this week for putting out false information, but I am interested in this one.
Cool. All right. So, but, and I, once again, I just quickly stopped looking because it had some of the information that I wanted. So, it says, for PlayStation in Europe of 2023, 55% of the games sold on PS5 were downloaded, whereas that number jumps to 64% in 2024, and now we're up to 85%. That's the number that PlayStation are quoting for I think it was the fourth quarter last year.
Yeah, and that's accelerating, man. It definitely feels like it.
Oh yeah, 100%. But when you look at some of the games, so, and this is UK stats only, so not worldwide, UK only. Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2 saw 80% of its UK sales come from digital, so that means 20% physical. Helldivers 2 was 90% digital, but that was also like mainly a digital game. But
I didn't even realize that Helldivers 2 had a physical edition. Yeah,
I think once it got really popular, because like you get games that do that, like
the limited run editions.
Well, not even just limited run, but just games that get really popular and go, okay, we'll do a physical release of them. But for Hogwarts Legacy had 45% digital sales. Assassin's Creed Mirage had 49% digital sales. Resident Evil 4 Remake had 45% sales. Spider-Man 2 was bought in more physical retailers than digital ones at 54%. So like and granted, this is data that's, if correct, a couple of years old already, but there's still that equal split of the really big games. And I think that's a point to take as well. So it's not just like, yes, there are a lot of digital games that people are buying and playing, but the difference between an indie game that's maybe $15, $20 versus a game like Spider-Man 2, which is $100, $110, that's quite big. Like people are still buying those physically.
And, this is just my gut feel, because I'm just going off my first thought with that.
Hmm.
I wonder if that is the parent effect. Up in the chat earlier, Yeen was saying around, not being able to buy and wrap a video game for Christmas for their child, Hogwarts Legacy feels like a game that parents of someone that likes Harry Potter would buy, like as a gift.
Mm.
And that to me would maybe say some of that effect. These games doesn't explain Resident Evil. I don't know if Resident Evil's one that parents are buying, but there is sort of some thought around those. I also wonder if it's to do with collector's editions. Get your 10 inches of Venom.
Maybe.
As the Spider-Man collection edition and thing.
But they do go on to say for Astrobot that launched in 2024 in the UK, 55% was physical, and that number went up to nearly 60% across Europe. So it's but once
that
again,
was a breakout star.
Well, it was, but it's also, like you say, a kid type game, so it was probably bought by parents as well. Yeah. So I think while the bulk of stuff is being bought digitally these days, I think it's maybe a generation or two too early to remove a disk drive.
I'll be interested because Sony is not a emotional company. You know what I mean?
It is not. It is not. Yeah.
They care about making money. They don't care about their fans. They don't care about the community. Herman Holst is not out here making Twitter posts or things like that. He cares about making money, which says to me that their analysts have said, yeah, we're going to make more money than we lose from this.
Yeah. And 100% they will. 100% they will. But I
100%.
I have serious concerns about the state of, unless Stop Killing Games pulls out something fairly quickly, which is just a quick update on that. They had a citizens initiative that did not get through, but they are also working on, there's existing legislation somewhere that is going to be easier to amend than, but from the sound of it, that's sounding promising as well. So, but like those rights, those consumer rights in the digital age need to be locked down before 2028 and need to come into force before 2028, because otherwise you're going to see more of this happening. You're going to see more of like you say, Xbox want to do this. They tried to they tried to do this 2 generations ago and got laughed at and made the Xbox One such a failure to begin with.
Oh, look, I will say there are ways to do it well. Nintendo, the Switch family sharing thing is sick. That I can take a digital game on my account and just put it onto Jep's Switch just by going share. And we just tap switches, and then suddenly the game that I own digitally has been moved to Jep's account. That's sick. That kind of thing is potentially awesome if this is done like that.
And Steam does it as well. Steam has a family sharing.
Family share. We love it. We've got our 2 accounts linked here, which does all that kind of thing. I get Jep's weird games. Jep grabs all my games that I get sent for ads and things like that. So works out well for us.
Yeah.
I think the big one, and it's probably my closing thought, because I know we've been going for a long time. People keep saying in Reddit, in forums, all that kind of stuff, we have to vote with our wallet.
Your wallet's
I would
not
say
big
we
enough.
already have.
Yeah.
No, I would say we already have. We voted with our wallet, and our wallets have said we're happy with digital.
Yeah.
They're not doing this out of the blue. They have analyzed and said, okay, people are predominantly buying digital. The X%, like if I reckon they, having worked in industries and things like that, not game industry, but worked in industries, they probably came in and said, what's our worst case? All right, our worst case is that 20% of physical sales, all of those disappear. If we lost that whole 20%, would the extra cut that we're getting through not going to stores or all that matter? And they're going, oh shit, no, we still come out ahead.
Yeah. And Jeppy asks the question there, if they go digital only, will they make games cheaper? No. Definitely.
Nintendo does. No, Nintendo does. Nintendo knocks $10 off for their digital games.
Yeah, but also like $10 on $100. Like, but Nintendo
yeah,
games
but
also don't get cheaper though.
well, $10 on $10 on $60, you know, American. Like physical copy of Star Fox was $60 in store and 50 on the Nintendo store.
You're talking about the difference between physical and digital prices.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Jeppy's,
Well, that's what we're
I think what Jeppy's asking is that if you remove a disk drive and all of a sudden you don't have the distribution costs of physical media and warehousing and all that sort of stuff, will the prices go down? And the answer to that is no. They won't.
They won't go down. Does it mean they don't need to go up? Probably. Will it go up anyway? Yeah, it will. But the fact is as well, there are so many good games out these days. Wait for a sale. Like, you don't need to buy something on release anymore. Like, my backlog, Jim, is disgusting.
Yeah.
And I play a MMORPG on top of it. And I keep going back and trying to shiny hunt in Pokemon and all that. Like, there's a lot of bad news at the moment, but gaming is still really cool at the moment at how many options there are. What was the thing that they said at SGF? Since games released in 2026, so up to June 2026, I think it was thousands. Like, it was ludicrous how many games had been released.
Yeah.
But
I also think like things are good, and I'm cautious of sounding too negative about everything, because like I don't want to be negative about everything, but there are systemic changes, little incremental systemic changes that have been happening over the last couple of years and continuing on this trend where they are very anti-consumer. And I am worried that is going to continue. And you've seen it.
It's going to.
Oh yeah, but also like it's a kind of new thing for video games, but it has always been there in software. Like from a corporate 100%. Point of view, with my day job, because I work IT, everything is a subscription service. Everything is a managed contract. Everything is you keep paying to access the thing you've already got. And
absolutely, man.
And that's the way video games.
We're going to see it in Games Pass. We're going to see it all. But yeah, sorry, I pulled that number down while we were talking as well. The estimate is that in 2026, 26,000 games will be released. I know I harp on it a lot. Indie games, AA games, that kind of thing. If you want unique experiences or cool games and you don't want to pay $100, $120, check out that space, man. Like, you can find games that maybe aren't as pretty as your God of War Ragnarok, but you will get an awesome time out. Like,
yeah. Oh, and I've long been an advocate for the shorter, more concise experiences of indie video games, because there are some really amazingly cool indie games out there, and you'll find some real gems. You'll find some stuff that's not so good as well, but like my enjoyment in fairness, my enjoyment in gaming over the last 6 months has come from more retro gaming, but also before that, indie games. Like, there are just so many good indie games out there. Why would you stick with the AAA games that cost you $100 or more, $120 sometimes these days? And when those other experiences are out there and you can play more for your money.
Yeah, 100%. Or look at some other companies. Look at your Capcoms, your Bandai Namcos, your Spike Chunsoft, because Jep's saying Danganronpa. I don't think Spike Chunsoft has released a game in a long time, but still. Like, you know, we had that whole episode about, is Capcom the best gaming company out at the moment? And those kind of vibes, like, you know, you don't need to buy the same thing every time. There is a world of games out there. And if you wait a year, you can get it real cheap. You know, it's not like Nintendo where they don't go on sale. I bought Persona 3 Reload 12 months after it came out for like $30.
Hang on, I on that note, I do want to know, because like I've said it a couple of times, where Breath of the Wild has not reduced since it came out. I'm just having a look at EB Games website just to see. It's $78, which I think is still around what it was when it came out. That's the Switch
Look,
One.
Nintendo is its own
version.
beast.
Yeah. Well, that's it. But even Nintendo, like, I don't think I've seen it since the GameCube era, but they used to like re-release it as a greatest hits or something, and and it would come down in price. But yeah, no, the Nintendo games just don't come down anymore.
No, look, and that's it. Like, I think the fact is as well, how much of an improvement is the PS6 really going to be in 2027 when it comes out? Probably not. Like, I don't think you need to rush out to buy a PS6. If you have a PS5 or a PS5 Pro, that'll last you years. You know, I think people will need to get more happy with just going, pick and choose. I don't need to jump out to that. And your PS5's not going anywhere.
No, that's it. And but that does sound like a discussion for another day, because I have things to say about graphical fidelity and improvements between systems as well. But I think, like you say, Dave, we've been going for long enough tonight, where I think we're just going to the 56-minute mark, I think. So we've been going for a while. It's been a good chat.
Oh, look, that's why people love Mondayish. It's for that nice short 30-minute podcast you can check out once a week.
That's it. Definitely.
Have we ever stuck to 30 minutes? I really don't think we have.
We've had a couple that have been about then, but yeah, I'm definitely not like, so peek behind the curtains here. When I pitched this idea to Dave, the idea was, let's do like a short, sharp 15-minute episode or something, just something easily digestible. And here we are, almost an hour into this episode. And
Jim really underestimated my ability to go off on segues and get distracted and rant.
Yeah, cool. But anyway, thank you so much for joining us. If you've been watching us live at twitch.tv/straightjacketjim or twitch.tv/Desane, if you've been listening to us wherever you find podcasts, sometimes we're on twitch.tv/Desane. Hasn't been for a little bit, but sometimes we're there.
We'll be back.
Yeah, that's it. Maybe when we actually do it on a Sunday, once we're live recording on a Sunday, we'll do that. But
when I finally have a weekend, I don't go somewhere.
But yeah, if you're listening to us wherever you listen to your podcasts, Spotify, Apple Music, iHeartRadio, because that's the meme now on the channel, I feel. But
it's got to be mentioned.
That's it. Thank you all, and we'll see you next Monday-ish.